Welcome into Pay Dirt Sports. I'm Will Dundon here with Nick Truschel, Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. Truschel, it's just you and me now.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of sad, man. It's Reese is gone. He's officially a U.S. troop. He is stationed down in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Sad to see him go, but he's here in spirit.
I was thinking we have a fallen soldier, but technically we have an active soldier now.
Active soldier.
So that's pretty good. But yeah, Reese going down to, I don't know if he's going down to Ranger School. I think it's something like that. Anyway, he's going to training, or basic training maybe is what it is. I don't know. But anyway, Reese going to serve our country, probably going through. Dude, I am obsessed with like military shows, or specifically military training.
Military. I was about to say, I thought you meant like the flyovers and the different Air Force military shows. I like those.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so when the Marines have their rifles and they're doing that stuff, like that.
So I'm obsessed with. I've read a bunch of guys, like I've read Chris Kyle's book, I've read David Goggins' book, and I love hearing about them.
I see what you're saying.
I love hearing about them going through Hell Week or something when they're training or trying to become a Navy SEAL, or watching. I got Discovery Plus, actually, the streaming thing, because they have they have I forgot how many good shows were on Discovery. I've been watching old reruns of Man vs. Food and.
What was that dude's name? Adam
Richmond.
Richmond, yeah.
Dude, that was fun to watch. And also, it just makes you hungry. It's like, and also, it's anytime you travel, if you need to know a restaurant, he's going to all the good ones. But anyway, I got it, and I started watching Surviving the Cut, which was this old going through all these different special forces schools. Yeah. And the first one is Army Ranger School. And I watched it, and I sent a picture to Reese. I was like, dude.
Good luck.
You're going to be doing this at some point, right?
Yeah.
So. That's cool. But yeah, congrats to Reese. We'll miss him. He'll be back around. Hopefully we can zoom him in, or when he comes back home to visit, we can get him back on the pod. But for now, man, it's you and me. So let's hop into it. Tons to talk about from this past weekend in college and the NFL.
Yeah, back to busy season for college football.
Dude, for sure. Exactly. I know we're at the end, and we kind of go through this lull of all these.
And then it's like a spike, insulin spike, you could call it.
Yeah, you have all these lower bowl games, and then it's like, okay, all the big bowl games, playoff, here we go.
Yeah.
Transfer news.
Crazy transfer news coming up.
Yeah, tons of, I don't even know the word to use, but people with a lot of different opinions on situations for players and bowl games, if they matter, playoff expansion, all that. But let's first talk about the playoff games real quick. So you and me, we mentioned I really wanted to see Cincinnati put up a good fight, and they ended up, what'd they lose by, 21?
21 exactly, I think.
So not a real surprise there, but I will say
they didn't get steamrolled.
No, like they looked like they belonged on the field with them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they lost to them by less than Georgia did, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So I assumed Cincinnati wouldn't. I thought the trenches would be the problem. I thought the front four and the offensive linemen, they would just get pushed around, and that wasn't really the case from what I saw.
Not really. They hung on their own.
And there were times where Cincinnati would get a little drive going, and then they kind of sputter and wouldn't be able to finish it. I think it came down to more of a game plan thing. Honestly, I think Fickell. I mean, they've never faced a team like that before, and you and me were talking about it earlier. Alabama is just better, obviously,
in coaching wise and
obviously player wise, scheme wise, everything more talented. But I think Cincinnati, if they play 10 times, Cincinnati has a chance at stealing a couple of those,
One
right?
Or 2 games, maybe.
Because I think if you have the perfect game plan for them, you can beat them. Because we've seen, like, Cincinnati is better than Auburn, and obviously that's different. That's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
And maybe Bama wasn't taking them as seriously as they normally would. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think Cincinnati had enough talent, and they didn't get pushed around necessarily to where if you were able to put in the right game plan, if you're Luke Fickell and you're familiar with Bama, maybe you have a chance there. But I mean, they've never seen anyone like that. I guess you could say when they played Georgia last year and gave them a really strong fight.
It's different.
It's different.
I mean, we saw what Alabama did to Georgia this year.
Exactly.
This Georgia team is better than last year's Georgia team. It makes sense why their result was a loss for Cincinnati.
Yeah. So nothing, not a lot to talk about there, honestly. Beatdown week. A lot of people expected it. Some probably thought it would be worse, honestly. If we're
probably.
I think that would be more probable. More people probably thought it would just be 50-0 or something than it would be a close game. But probably in the middle somewhere what most people expected. But then Georgia, Michigan, man. We talked about this
Michigan's
game.
Defense.
Dude, we thought the line was too big. Georgia -7.5. We were thinking it was going to be a 1-point game or a field goal type game. And
boy, were we wrong.
We were very wrong. And that seemed like a lot of people had to take SEC is still king. SEC is by far the best conference. I think Alabama and Georgia are just heads and shoulders above literally everyone else. And we touched on that at the beginning of the year. That's what everyone was saying. And then you kind of saw both of those teams a little human at times. Obviously, Bama losing to A&M, Georgia getting smacked by Bama later. But gosh, man, Georgia just... And Stetson Bennett, I told you earlier, I'm done with the Stetson Bennett being bad narrative. The dude was slinging it around. He wasn't making... I mean, whatever. Maybe his receivers are really good and open.
You still got to make the throws.
The dude was tossing it, and he was giving that Michigan front 4, front 7 fits when he would roll out and start running. He was slippery.
Just like we talked about how frustrating it was to watch him scramble throughout this year, he really just did the same thing again and showed his athleticism. It's crazy. He's so sneaky athletic, but he's just smart in the pocket and knows when to take off and run and kind of just sees those lanes and can just read the defense real well. So I'm getting more and more on Stetson Bennett's side too.
Yeah, as far as Michigan goes, I mean, still congrats to Harbaugh. That's the best season he's had in
they
ever
finally beat Ohio State. I feel like that was their national championship.
You beat Ohio State and you won a Big Ten championship. This season is a success, obviously.
100%.
But for Michigan to really contend for a national championship, because they have the players on defense, right? And I like that defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And the offense, I think the offense is just too vanilla to really have a chance at ever winning a playoff or national championship. And I always said I liked McNamara, especially at times. I thought he was safe, smart, could make some throws. But I think for them to take the next step, if they want to win a playoff game, if they want to win a national championship, you have to get a difference maker at quarterback.
Yeah, to really take that next step. And we talked about it a little bit earlier this year with Stetson Bennett just kind of following his defense. But like we were saying now, when he needed to come through and destroy a good defense, he did it. And I don't think Michigan really has that quarterback yet that can elevate his play and elevate his team in those big moments.
Well, and that's why I thought this game would be close, because I thought it was two teams, good defenses, average quarterbacks. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Like, Stetson Bennett is a lot better than Cade McNamara.
Agreed.
Stetson Bennett is good, people. That's what I've come away from this with.
We're saying it now.
We can talk about Kirby Smart making bad decisions with quarterbacks all the time, but maybe he did make the right call with this, because, I mean, Stetson Bennett did as good of a job as anyone did.
I mean, they're in the national championship, so as of right now, you can't say he made the wrong decision.
And, this is a Michigan defense that is really good. I mean, obviously, Georgia's offensive line did a good job, especially, I feel like Hutchinson was a non-factor, basically.
Pretty much.
For most of the game.
They shut him down.
So, wild. And I want to talk about this, too. So, we have a couple channels to go through right here. So one thing a lot of people have had problems with these bowl games is there's too many, or now, big name guys aren't playing. And so many people are advocating for playoff expansion. Let's go to 12 teams, because then you have that Pittsburgh Michigan State game, that's a playoff game, and you get Kenny Pickett and Kenneth Walker, they're playing. Any other bowl game, honestly, you want to say. Matt Corral was really the only big name who decided to play, and we'll get into that in a second, because obviously he suffered an injury in it. So there's a whole other
side that
to that.
Yeah.
But I don't think. We look at these playoff games that we've had since the playoff has come to be, and the majority of them have been blowouts. in blowouts, like 17 plus points, I think was the stat I saw in
3 scores.
Yeah, and I don't know how many, in what percentage, but the majority of the games were decided by 17 plus. You haven't had a lot of close games. When you have, it was maybe Bama, Clemson, or Ohio State, or someone, or that Baker Mayfield, that Oklahoma Georgia game a few years back. That was a good game, but so many people are advocating for a playoff expansion, and it's like you don't
never matters in the first place.
Well, you don't have enough good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the playoff has been a waste almost.
It pretty much is 1 and 2 almost every single year, or at least
the best 2 teams that you think so since there is a playoff, you have a team that if there was just a national championship, they might be number 2, but since there's a playoff, they say, oh, we can put them at 3 because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter; they're still going to get in.
Right. So, I don't think playoff expansion is the answer. I lost my thought a little bit, but I mean, we don't even have 4 good teams. It looks like you could have kept the BCS or kept the national championship.
Really, you could have.
Because it seems like every year the top 2 teams that we thought have ended up being in the national championship and playing each other. And I mean, the only one I can think of is when
Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State. That's the only one I can think of.
That's the only one. That's every other time it's really been expected. I guess you could kind of say. Now you can't even say Clemson because those Clemson teams were so good.
It was Bama Clemson forever anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was really Bama Clemson, like you said, and then now Bama Georgia seems like it could be here to stay for a little bit.
And so it's like if you did go back to old school, just one national championship game, you wouldn't have had Bama and Georgia play again, right?
Yeah.
But that's also not unfair because Georgia and Bama played each other, Bama whooped them. So yeah, why would you give them a shot at the national championship? Bama whooped Cincinnati. They would have probably played Michigan, and we think they would have beaten the crap out of them as well. Yeah. So Bama would be national champions. No one would have a problem with that.
At all.
Now, if Georgia comes back and they beat Bama in the national championship, maybe, it's hard to beat a team twice. But it wouldn't, if you're a Georgia fan and say we just had a national championship game, you just got whooped by Bama in the SEC championship, you're not expecting to go.
No.
The season's over.
You're not expecting to go at all. You'd think your season is over.
So we're getting a different look because we are in the playoff. Who knows, maybe Georgia has a chance now. But it's like it wouldn't have been a big deal if there was a normal national championship game this year between Alabama and Michigan.
Right.
There's just, in my opinion, and I don't know where this 12 number came from. I think if anything, you do 8. And I don't think I'm not for playoff expansion because I don't think you have enough good teams. I understand it brings, for viewership I would watch
and money
it.
Wise, yeah. No, it makes sense for TV deals, sponsorships, and the NCAA just because it puts more oomph into a bowl game. That's really all they would do is just say, hey, all right, these bowls are now playoffs.
Well, and the thing I hate about especially, even 8, but really with a 12-team playoff, is it does devalue the regular season a little bit. And I think that's what makes college football so awesome, is to get to that playoff, you can't slip up. You can slip up one time, maybe.
And it's usually better be early in the season.
Yeah, exactly. You better slip up early, or you better win. Most of the time, you better win your conference, or, if you're Georgia and you kill everyone every year and then you lose to the best team in the country, yeah, you got a shot. That's okay. But I think, people are wanting to turn college football. They're thinking about, people compare it to how the FCS does their big tournament, how the NFL has the playoffs, obviously. College football is different, and I think that's okay.
That's what makes it special. I think that's why you have, I feel like with college basketball and NBA, usually people are fans of both, but you find kind of often fans who are, all right, I just really follow college football. I follow NFL a little bit, but I don't follow it that much, or the opposite, vice versa. Yeah, I follow the NFL a bunch, but I'm not really a big college guy. And I think it's because there are so many differences in the game that it kind of creates 2 different groups of fans.
Yeah, definitely. I think another topic I want to discuss. So this past weekend, if you didn't see it, I think it was before the Rose Bowl, because you had a bunch of Ohio State, which that game was awesome. Talk about bowl games. There were good bowl games.
Yeah.
I'm out on people not caring about bowl games. I get the problem is more so, I think, than people not caring. It's the guys who opt out, obviously. I mean, so it's like, yeah, they don't really care. But the guys who are playing in it, I saw some great bowl games.
Yeah, everybody who's on that field cares about that game.
Well, because you're a competitor. I think that. So here, let me say what I was going to say because this all ties in. So before the Rose Bowl, the game day panel was there. Herbstreit, Howard, and Pollock and Reese Davis were all talking about it. And Herbstreit made a comment, and him and Desmond were kind of having a conversation about how Herbstreit's saying, how is a football game meaningless? He said, Desmond, you and me, we played in quote-unquote meaningless bowl games at times. They were, I think, at that time Michigan was going to a lot of Rose Bowls or national championships. But he said, you're a football player. Like, you are a competitor. You want to play football. Yeah. And he talked about, I think he ended up clarifying it. He said, there are guys who, he said, I think this generation or this era of player doesn't love football like they used to. And he caught a lot of crap for it. And I totally agree with him. He ended up kind of clarifying it and say, he said there's still guys that do, but he said he started noticing it when he would hear coaches say, this guy loves football. And you hear that a lot.
Yeah, you say, this guy's just a ball player.
He loves football. He's a gym rat. He's in the gym all the time.
Used to be
He's
that
practicing.
Was expected.
Yeah. And Herbstreit said he used to hear that and be like, well, yeah, I mean,
of course.
That's what you...
Yeah, he's a D1 athlete or NFL player. Of course he loves ball.
But guys don't care about that anymore. They care about getting to the league. That's all they care about. And, I understand that. So, I have so much to unpack about this. So, one thing, I tweeted this out. Everyone was giving Herbstreit crap for this. Some people were agreeing with him, obviously, but a lot of people were like, how can you call guys out like that? Like, they're making decisions for themselves. And I pulled out a Deion Sanders clip from about a year ago saying kind of the same thing, and everyone, worshiped Deion for it. He said, guys today, these players, they don't love anything. He was like, they like it. Like, they like a picture on Instagram. They like it. They like getting a bunch of followers. They like the fame. They like being good at football.
Yeah.
They like that they
like the attention from the fans, and they like being good and the feeling of winning. But I don't know if it's truly going out there for the love of the game, like they used to call it.
Yeah, and they're I agree.
It's not everybody.
Yeah, it's not everybody. There's plenty of guys. We saw Matt Corral decided to play, and yeah, he got injured. I think, so here's my take on it. I think there's too much of a negative connotation. Well, it is, and it should be. But people don't want to hear, or they don't want to call someone a quitter anymore. So if I'm so-and-so...
Antonio Brown.
Or Kenny Pickett, yeah. If I'm Kenny Pickett and I'm at Pittsburgh and I've Pittsburgh gave me my shot. I came to play for them. I was a lower level guy, and now I'm going to be probably the first quarterback taken, and I opt out of my game because I want to, secure my spot, don't want to get injured or anything. Hey, man, that's fine. You're looking out for yourself. But remember, you're looking out for yourself. You quit on your team.
Yeah.
You're either a quitter or you...
It is what it is. You got to call it what it is.
Yeah, you can't say, well, he's not a quitter. No, yeah, he is. That's fine. You can
quit the team, and you can make an argument as to why that was the right decision to quit.
Yes, it can be the right decision. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Just imagine this. So you go and play with this team. These are your brothers, these are your guys. They want to go and play in this bowl game and win. Obviously, they're playing in it. And they might even understand. They say, hey, man, that's fine. You go ahead. You got to make your money. We get that. But you are quitting on them.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's you're quitting on the team.
Yeah. So, and that's fine. At times you got to look out for yourself. But you can't have it both ways. I think too many people are trying to... I think Mackenzie Milton was talking about, whenever someone said, well, how do you know, what's the point of opting out of a bowl game? When's it okay? Can you do it at the beginning of the season? Can you do it in before a big game or what? And he said, well, whenever that player feels like it's time for them, it's comfortable, and we should respect that. And I said, hold on, you can't. We are in in a game of college football, of NFL, where you have a magnifying glass on you at all times,
Yeah.
you're going to be criticized for the decisions you make. You can't say, you know what, this guy can make whatever decision he
And
wants.
it's the right one.
This guy can make whatever decision he wants, and then no one can criticize him for it. Dude, grow up.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
If you're going to be in the public eye and be a celebrity and get all this attention, of course writers are going to write about you. Of course there's going to be critics out there. That's every profession that you're in.
I mean, it's turning in. It's like political. It's gotten to that point. And dude, stop getting so worried about hurting guys' feelings. I mean, they're grown men. They're making adult decisions. That's the point. You're making an adult decision. Matt Corral made an adult decision to play, and he got hurt. And I don't think he would go back on it. He was pissed off he got hurt. But you know what? You could make the argument, there's a team out there in the NFL that maybe wasn't going to draft him that says, you know what, dude, I like this guy because he's a team guy.
Yeah. And you still see success stories, and this is obviously not the same as a quarterback, but a guy like Jeffrey Simmons for the Titans who tears his ACL and has that video of it really wasn't as bad as it looked. He was protecting his sister or whatever, but he falls all the way to the late first round, 18th pick, when that guy should have been top 5 pick. Titans take a flyer on him. They love what they saw, how hard he was working to get back. So, yeah, you never know when those certain decisions will come into play.
Yeah, and Corral said it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when he said, like, I am playing in the bowl game. He said, this team, Ole Miss, is the reason I am the quarterback I am today.
Yeah.
I owe it to them, essentially. You know, like, I wouldn't be in this position without them, so I'm not going to quit on them. So the main point is, you can make a me decision. You know what? Sometimes you got to look out for yourself. You do. And if that's what it's about for you, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, everyone has the right to criticize you for it and say, hey, you're quitting, because you are. I don't think there's any other way to go about it. You made a personal decision that was in your best interest, and that's fine. You got to look out for number one sometimes, but you can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways. And I kind of miss it when, especially we can talk about it with basketball as well, how much loyalty has been lost for schools, especially with the transfer portal and how easy
and one and dones.
One and dones. It's just, I mean, guys used to love to represent their school and their teams, and there was a brotherhood to it, and a lot of that has just disappeared. And a lot of that comes, like we were talking about, when college football and college sports has gotten so big, these guys are celebrities. So it's not just the team. I mean, you look at the Heisman winners, and like Joe Burrow, his Heisman season, that guy was about as famous as anybody else on the planet. So like it's kind of like being a professional athlete in terms of limelight. So it's interesting to look at.
Yeah. I mean, I also think if Corral said this in his interview too. He said, you know, if I get hurt and I never play another down of football again, he's like, that was, I mean, it's
the most
probably
fun I've ever had.
Well, and he said, you know, that's like my fate. That's my like, I wasn't supposed to play football then. It's okay. Like, I could go get hit by a car tomorrow. I could turn my knee in practice, you know? So, I mean, you're a football player. You're a competitor. You want to play. So, and that goes along with these people saying bowl games are meaningless. Like, I don't understand guys, if there are that many who get to go to a bowl game, who aren't like going to the draft or something, who just don't get up for it. And I don't necessarily believe that, because if we went and played a backyard football game right now, like, we would want to win, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I look at it, honestly.
I'm not going out there and gonna lay somebody out full speed tackle.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know how competitive.
If it's like a Thanksgiving Day game, maybe.
But you know, I'm definitely, if there's a chance for me to make a diving catch in the end zone for a tud, you know I'm laying out for that ball.
Yeah, man. You get a little mud on your jeans, you know? Don't worry about it.
That's the fun part about it. So I think you are right. We do miss a little bit of that competitiveness from the old school days, but it's not completely gone. So
I would love to hear it. This is one I wish Reese was here. I'd love to get his take on it. But I would love, listeners, if you have a different take on this, please tweet at us, message us. I would love to have hear the other side and get in a good conversation about this. But let's hop in also. So along with all the big bowl games, I mean, there was a bunch of great ones. Rose Bowl, particularly to me, I was like, this game is awesome. I was watching it at the gym while I was working out. It was back and forth, super high scoring. But let's talk our boys, Music City Bowl. A great game.
Yeah. What a great game. I mean, overtime finish. So frustrating, though.
Yeah. Well, and so we were both there. We were we were at the game.
It was a fun tailgate, too.
Yeah. But, dude, I mean, I was yelling in anger at the end of that game because of, I mean, dude, not even, forget the, so if you didn't see it, Tennessee scored a touchdown in overtime and it got called back. And everyone, Dan Wolken said,
literally our arch nemesis.
He said, dude, that's a touchdown. What? So what happened? They run the ball. There's a big pile up on the one. Running back, was it Wright? I think it was Wright. Falls over.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Falls over. Is on top of the guy. Knees not down. Is moving around still. And he stretches that ball out.
Gets the ball
Gets over. Then the whistle blows. And they're like, nah, he's short. And I go, okay, well, let's go review it. They review it. And he's obviously in the end zone.
Clearly, he scored.
And then they said no. They said confirmed. And the argument was his forward progress was stopped. And I said, well, no, it wasn't.
And that's the second time forward progress has screwed Tennessee this year.
Yeah,
when they had that scoop and score against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
With Matt Corral, and they just decided, oh, wait, we called the touchdown on the play, but we're actually going to review it, go back and say
it's nuts. I've never seen... It's been
after.
It's been blatantly wrong. It's been so wrong. I mean, those refs, and they had a bad rap already from getting banned after reffing like a Miami Duke game because it was some ACC refs. They already had a bad reputation
stuff going on. Yeah.
And I mean, gosh, I'd never seen anything like it. The whole stadium was celebrating because we saw it and we said that's a touchdown.
Everyone was like, all right, sweet.
And he didn't blow the whistle yet. And, you know, the people were talking about the technicalities of the rule. The whistle doesn't necessarily matter. I was like, well, I mean, the play's not over until the whistle blows.
What is the point of the whistle then?
And his forward progress wasn't stopped, especially on the goal line. Like, you let that play out. You don't just stop it.
Yes.
I mean, it was terrible. And I think there was a similar play in the maybe Iowa-Kentucky game the next day, and it, like, worked out the way it should have or something. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So that was ridiculous. But, dude, all game, me and my little brother were watching, and it was, you know, they were throwing pass interferences on us all day.
So many flags. It was getting pretty frustrating to watch.
Before overtime, we had a shot. There could have been a game-winning field goal, but I don't think anyone really thought he was going to make it. It was long. But before that, Hooker throws what would have been a bomb to Tillman, and the dude just has a handful of jersey.
Yeah.
No call. And me and my brother were watching, and it was even the littlest things. Like on a first or second down run for Tennessee, the ref, you'd see the spot, and you just see him put the ball down like a yard behind where it was. And obviously it's not something that's a huge deal, but you're just like...
It adds up.
Or you're just like, what's going on here? And then it's like the opposite on the Purdue side.
Yeah, it moves a yard further every time they place the ball. It was weird.
No, it was bad, but also, I mean... Tennessee defense was Swiss cheese.
Yeah, it was. It finally got. There were a couple of teams that kind of ran through it, and we didn't have quite the depth in some games this year. But Purdue fully exposed what we thought Tennessee's defense was. At least at what I thought Tennessee's defense was going to be like this year.
Well, and it goes back to kind of the UCF mentality of defense that Heupel did, that Frost tried to do when he was at UCF. You're going to get burned. You're going to give up plays, but you try to get as many turnovers and sacks and stuff. And the problem you got 3 turnovers, but you didn't do a whole lot other than that.
Yeah, no, didn't matter.
So, and someone tried to tell Wes, my little brother, he got a text that said, "This game is not the defense. Is not on the defense."
You put up 45.
I said, "You put up 40. You had like 700 yards of offense, and you also gave up."
Hendon Hooker have 5 touchdowns and no picks, right?
Yeah, didn't he throw? Did he throw for 400? I mean, he had at least
400.
Yeah, and
maybe close to 500. Or no, it was 5 touchdowns, 400
yards. But dude, Purdue threw for 600 yards, I think.
Yeah. No, it was the definition of a shootout.
like I don't. Okay, if it's not that, you could say the refs, I guess. But no, it was
certainly wasn't the offense's fault.
Yeah, I know the offense didn't score in the second quarter or something. If you score 45, if you score over 30, you should win a game. Yeah. In my opinion,
especially if you're an SEC caliber team.
Well, and you're playing Purdue.
You're playing Purdue with their two best players sitting out too.
David. That's the thing. David Bell didn't even play, right?
Yeah.
They're like top receiver who's going to be a top NFL draft.
Yeah, they were missing some of their top guys, sat out that bowl game, and didn't matter.
I mean, Tennessee fans, you have the right to complain about the refs because you got screwed when it all comes down to it. But also the whole argument of don't let the refs decide the game. You have a little bit of that. I mean, I think the bottom line is you got screwed.
This one was pretty bad, and I could even tell because my dad called me today and was like, you guys got screwed. And I don't know if I've ever heard him talk about the refs screwing people over because he has watched a lot of sports film over the years. His job was pretty involved in it. And he never complains about the refs. And he was telling me, oh, my God, you guys got screwed. So I at that point, I knew if from an outside source they were seeing it was that bad. It was that bad.
Yeah. Crazy. But, I mean, all in all, it was a successful season for Tennessee. You scored the most points you've ever scored, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a ton of guys coming back, especially Hooker and Tillman. That's huge. Vols are going to be pretty good next year. I don't know how good, especially with – I saw some on Vol Twitter. People were lumping in South Carolina as maybe a sleeper team in the East. And there were some
Rattler,
there were some Vol fans that were like, "Oh, don't lump South Carolina in with us. We crush them. They can't." I was like, "Dude, they're getting Spencer Rattler. He's gonna be pretty good."
And it's not like Tennessee had 10 wins this year.
Yeah,
let's not get ahead of ourselves like we normally do yet.
So, and that's why I'm like, I think Florida's gonna be bad. But, I mean, Florida is kind of...
They're always good early on in the year, it seems like.
Florida's kind of to Tennessee what Tennessee is to Kentucky. Like, even... I mean, we haven't been... They've always been pretty good, though. That's the kind of main difference.
Yeah.
They're always still pretty good. Kentucky, man. I think I said this... I tweeted out Iowa is the worst 10-win team of all time. Because if you look at their schedule, the only two ranked teams they played... or that are currently ranked, are Kentucky. I did say Iowa, right? Iowa's the worst. Yeah, okay. So the only two ranked teams they played was Kentucky recently, and the other one that's ranked on the schedule currently, ranked, is Michigan, who they lost to 42-3.
Absolutely obliterated by.
So, I mean, they don't really have any impressive wins. And then I had a guy, one of our buddies, Grant Shumpert, tweeted back at me and said he had a tweet ready to go saying, this Kentucky team is the worst 9 or 10 win. Yeah, I guess it would have been 9-win team if they lost. But he said, but then Iowa choked it away. So, and I had another buddy, Derek, who talked about. I mean, he's a Kentucky fan, so he was obviously upset and said something about it must hurt Tennessee fans seeing Kentucky have this much success. And I was like, dude, honestly, not really. Like,
I mean, every year we expect to beat Kentucky in football.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking, I didn't even respond because I think he was more arguing with Grant about it. But I was like, I mean, if Kentucky wins like 11 games, like I don't really care. They can do whatever they want as long as we beat them. I don't really care, and that's what we did.
There's a pretty good chance we're going to beat them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these have been their best teams ever recently, and Tennessee continues to beat them.
Yeah, probably their best team since Bear Bryant was there.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's not the same for me as, and I think that really bothers Kentucky. You know, that Tennessee doesn't even look at them as you really don't even look at them as a threat or a rival at all. And I think Kentucky tries to look at them as a rival.
Yeah, they want to be on an even playing field as us, and I don't even know if we can consider them little brothers. They're kind of they're like little cousins.
Yeah, they're not. We don't care. Like I care. Yeah, I guess honestly, I'd even dislike Vandy more because in-state and they're just they're so bad that it's like. You don't want to lose to them. Basically.
And they're always just talking crap about, we're so smart academically, which is true, but hey, we're playing football here.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was something that came across, and I was like, like Kentucky winning or losing I don't really care, honestly. Like Georgia, I wish Georgia would lose every single game. Yeah, cool. But Kentucky, I don't know, doesn't do it for me. I mean, congrats to them. They won 10 games, but again, they're not that good.
No.
They can't beat Tennessee, so.
Yeah, and they'll be probably back to around 8 wins next year, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, they might have another good year, and I mean, they could beat Tennessee. They almost beat them this year, but I mean, if they don't, I'm not gonna worship them for be like, oh, they're so good. No, they're not that good. They lost to Tennessee.
Yeah,
like a solid Tennessee team, a dangerous Tennessee team, but not a.
You can't classify us as a good SEC team yet.
No. I don't think so.
No,
I think maybe next year. I think you got a good shot.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
We'll see. But that's what I'm saying. The East is kind of like Florida will probably be down, but Kentucky, South Carolina, they'll be solid. Georgia's obviously going to be good. You'll see what you get there.
Yeah.
Man, I'm already ready for next season. It's sad. Worst time of the year.
I know, it's going by way too fast.
Yeah. But so let's take that and hop into the NFL. Big news, obviously playoff implications, people clinching divisions, seeding moving around. I think we should kick it off with what happened in the Bucs-Jets game, though.
Yeah, so if you didn't see, I'll quickly say, holy cow, Tom Brady is still very good and can lead a fourth quarter comeback against anybody. He's still the man.
I think this goes up there as one of Tom Brady's like top performances as the GOAT. Like this cements him even further because of this performance.
I mean, he had a minute left, no timeouts. He was as cool as a cucumber.
After all the drama ensued.
Yeah, after Antonio Brown doesn't even pull a Vontae Davis, doesn't even quit at like halftime or kind of tells the guys. He literally just starts ripping his clothes off, running around the field, going crazy. Completely lost it. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know what his deal is. On social media, there was actually videos of his Uber driver who picked him up, and it was this fat, goofy-looking white guy who was just hanging around with Antonio Brown when he was supposed to be playing an NFL game. It
was funny. But so, yeah, if you didn't see it, apparently, I guess it was him and a coach got into it or something.
Yeah. Well, he first claimed he had twisted his ankle or something. Did you hear how he was trying?
No, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, so it was the same as how, my vaccination card is real. Like, we know Antonio Brown is not the most honest of people, but yeah, he originally was trying to say he was going to the locker room because he hurt his ankle or twisted his ankle. Well, how are you jumping up and down and going crazy in the end zone if you hurt yourself? But yes, keep going.
Good point. But yeah, so he got into it with a coach, I guess, and then he decided to just leave and starts trying to take off his shoulder pads, and even Mike Evans comes over and is like, dude, stop, come on, don't do this, you don't want to do this. And AB ignores him, doesn't care, starts ripping off his clothes, and Mike Evans walks away. He's like, okay, I don't have time for this. Rips off his shoulder pads, rips off his shirt and his gloves, and throws them into the stands. And while the game is going on, like it's on the other side of the field, but he just like walks across the field, jumps up and down in the end zone, waving his arms, getting attention. And yeah, I mean, Arians came on after the game and they asked him about it, and he just said he's no longer a Buck. We're not talking about it. And there were a lot of people, you said it, that were saying, I feel bad for the guy because the guy probably does have issues, probably does have brain damage. But at the same time, man,
well, you still got to be held accountable for your actions.
You're a grown man. You're an adult. If you need help, you've had time to get that, and I feel like he probably has. If it's a real mental thing. Do we
remember a couple of years ago when he was on the Raiders and he wouldn't play because he didn't get the special helmet and like all this crazy stuff? So let's not forget, just a couple of years ago, he was already showing signs of mental illness or whatever you want to call it. But Brady was supposed to be the guy to rescue him. But I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Brady was real nice about it in his press conference, but I'm wondering if Brady behind the scenes is like calling him out or anything, because Brady let him come live with him, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that was
Brady's
the
been
deal.
that
Arians
kinda-
didn't want to really. I don't think he wanted to deal with it, or maybe the owner didn't. Brady said, "No, he'll come live with me. I'll get him straightened out. All this stuff." I mean, you stuck your neck out there
He
for the
did.
guy.
and did not repay him very well.
And then someone on Twitter tried to compare who's the bigger diva, Terrell Owens or Antonio Brown, and T.O. was like, "There's no comparison."
No.
And that's what I said. I said, Antonio Brown makes Terrell Owens look like Tim Tebow. Seriously.
He does. Terrell Owens.
He
was over the top,
He was a diva and over the top,
but he wasn't crazy.
I mean, it was probably not good for team chemistry and everything, but compared to this, it's harmless. Antonio Brown is a real distraction. And I saw someone throw this out there, props to Mike Tomlin for having Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on the same team and dealing with that.
Yeah, and I mean, Ben Roethlisberger isn't the most humble guy in the world ever, and has had some skeletons in his closet too. So
Now you're dealing with weirdos like Juju and Claypool.
yeah, who dance,
Whole different generation, yeah.
God, when Claypool was doing his little first down dance with 30 seconds left, that still pisses me off to this day. That was so dumb. And then he said, "Well, nothing would have happened if my teammate didn't hit it out of my hand." So stupid.
Yeah. But so, I mean, there were other big games around the league. Packers clinched, right?
Yeah, Packers clinched, and then I mean, Bengals. Joe Burrow, talk about showing some gall. That dude can play. Comes back against the Chiefs. Huge win for the Titans. But I was just excited to see, like I was talking about Brady being calm, cool, and collected. Burrow seemed ready for the moment, ready to go, ready to lead his team against. I mean, the Chiefs. Well, they're kind of giants in the league right now. As hot
Chiefs
as
hadn't lost since they lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, 10 weeks ago or something.
So, Titans needed it, and old Joey B, did he come through?
Joe Burrow, good. I don't think that surprises a lot of people. Jamar Chase also. Remember when everyone was criticizing the Bengals for drafting Jamar Chase instead of an offensive lineman?
Dropped a couple of balls in the preseason.
Yeah, we weren't sure if he was going to be able to catch, if he was going to be able to play in the NFL.
And then didn't he just have 260 yards?
He's done that, and he's done it before. I mean,
he's had multiple 200-yard games.
Yeah, shout out to LSU and Mickey Joseph, the old receivers coach at LSU that is now at Nebraska currently, coaching up Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who just led the rookies and reception yards back-to-back years. So, good for them. But yeah, Bengals dangerous in the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how everything's lined up, the matchups, because you got some dangerous teams that could knock out some big dogs. I mean, we just saw it with the Bengals beating the Chiefs in the regular season.
I mean, the AFC is going to be fun to watch, especially with Titans finally starting to get healthy. The Colts are going to be hot. I mean, obviously, as much as I hate to say it, they're good, and they're going to be interesting to watch this season. I want to see what the Patriots end up doing, because I'm not so sure if they're legit, but then they showed this 50-point performance against the Jaguars and absolutely beat them into the ground. So there's just a lot of question marks and teams that I think could be good or could be bad. So I'm especially excited for the AFC side of the playoffs.
Patriots, yeah, I agree with you. Patriots are my biggest question mark because I could see them. I don't see them going to a Super Bowl, but I could see them getting to the AFC Championship.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. They could get hot and basically do what the Titans did with Tannehill 2 years ago.
Right, I agree.
And just rely on Mac Jones not to turn it over, and then let
just
do
exactly what you ask him to do.
Yep.
Don't turn it over, essentially.
Just don't turn it over. Let your running backs go to work. Rely on your Belichick defense. They could certainly make it to an AFC championship. But without I don't think they're quite the elite defense they've been in the past. They're really good. And then it's tough with a rookie quarterback because when you get that deep in the playoffs, the pressure turns on, and rarely does that bode well for rookies.
Right. And we'll touch, before we get into the Titans' performance, we'll talk NFC. I mean, Packers look good still. I mean, they have just continued to do what they do. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers having another MVP season. Their defense is good. Aaron Jones is pretty good. I love AJ. I love watching AJ Dillon play.
Yeah, he runs hard.
He is a dude you do not want to tackle, especially with them going to have home field advantage up there in Lambeau, dude.
Yeah, they've got a little smash and dash going, kind of.
Right. Well, and dude, A.J. Dillon, if I'm playing in Lambeau Field when it's 10
cold.
degrees out there,
His
you're not
shoulder
wanting
pads and helmet do not feel good when they hit you.
I mean, obviously Derrick Henry is the beast that he is, but if I'm just thinking
size-wise,
or even just you're going one-on-one, A.J. Dillon breaks that first line, and you got a safety or someone sitting back there, A.J. Dillon is running you over.
Yeah, he is putting your face in the dirt. He's fun to watch, and what I liked you mentioned to talk about is how much the Packers defense has improved this year, because we consistently talk about, and especially Barry on Twitter, Sports Talk Barry is always talking about how Rodgers' defense screws him over, but their pass rush looks good. Their secondary is playing well. I mean, Rodgers, like you said, is still an elite performance. They're the team in the NFC to beat, with the Rams right behind them.
I like the Rams too. That's the thing. The Rams are peaking at the right time.
Yeah, because they had that little bit of a lull in the middle of the season, but now they've gotten a stranglehold on their division, control their own destiny. So Rams could be making some noise as well. Stafford obviously has that experience. Doesn't have the most playoff experience, but maybe he can finally get into a deep playoff run that he's missed out for so long in Detroit.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously you got Brady sitting over there. Can't ever count him out.
No, never count out Brady.
Although I don't love him this year. Doesn't really matter because he's still Tom Brady. But I don't love the Bucs this year. I don't see them getting there for some reason.
Their defense isn't as nice as it was last year.
Maybe that's what it is.
Their secondary has been way more banged up this year too.
Is Godwin hurt?
Yes, Godwin did just get hurt. I think it was.
I don't know the severity of it, but I thought I remembered hearing that.
And then Michael Gallup, he just tore his ACL too. I saw on the ticker for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Which the Cowboys are kind of in it too.
Yeah,
they're dangerous enough.
Yeah,
I think we were pretty high on them last week. I think they're too inconsistent. I think if they play their best, they're the best team in the league.
When their
not
offense
unlike
is humming. Yeah.
I think that offense is super dangerous, but it hasn't. I don't know. Something's missing. I don't know what it is. Then the Cardinals aren't going to do it.
No,
I'm calling that. Cardinals, they don't have it.
I think they got they peaked at the wrong time. They were too hot in the beginning of the season. They got way too in their own heads. They suffered some injuries.
They're pretty, they're flashy, but it ain't gonna happen, in my opinion. There's 3 or 4 teams I like better than them in the NFC probably right now. But let's hop over to the current number 1 seed in the AFC. The Tennessee Titans.
Control our own destiny, too.
I went to the game. Man, it was awesome because it was a nasty... It was similar probably to that Houston-Texas game that they lost, but it was cold, nasty. It was sleeting and everything. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know how we lost to Houston in this kind of a game because this is the weather this is the perfect setting for this Titans team.
Yes.
If you could have every game 36 and raining at Nissan Stadium in the playoffs, you're in good shape if you're the Titans because the defense is the best it's been since probably you went 13-3 that year.
In 08.
Yeah. The defense is amazing. The run game, everyone said our run game was going to be non-existent, and then
pretty much the stats are the exact same if you look at them. You got to combine all the running backs.
The total rush yards and attempts and everything is pretty much equal to what Derrick Henry had that first half.
So our 3-headed monster really held their own.
We moneyballed it.
Yeah, we did.
Moneyballed it.
We did.
We recreated
Billy
the stats. Obviously, it's not. I mean, obviously. Derrick Henry is one guy, so
yes,
you did have,
but we did what we needed to maintain our offense, hung on, and the fact that we control our own destiny for the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, for then Derrick Henry to be probably coming off injury here soon. We're seeing it talked about a lot online, so.
I mean, the fact that the Dolphins were on a 7-game winning streak or whatever it was, and they hadn't really beaten anyone. I wasn't a believer in them.
We held them to 3 points, though.
34-3.
I mean, that's
a beat down.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And you just you just grinded them down the whole game, and then you got that big run by Hilliard at the end. But I mean, I think you ran for close to 200 yards because I know
Foreman had over 130.
Yeah, and then I mean, Hilliard had at least 40 because that last run. So you're pushing around 200 yards rushing. Tannehill had some good runs, good throws. I mean, it was the perfect Titans game.
Yeah, we had 198 yards rushing, 110 yards passing.
Right, you just threw it when you needed to, honestly, because you couldn't.
2 tuds, 0 picks, though. That's all you need.
Yeah.
He throws it when he needs to, and when he's not turning the ball over, we win.
When you couldn't, I mean, you really couldn't throw it, which that's what screwed the Dolphins so bad, is because this Titans defense doesn't let anyone run on them.
No.
So when all you can do in that kind of weather is run, and you can't run. I mean, we saw Tua kept the ball slipping out of his hand. Yep. He was throwing. I mean, there were some. He threw one to, it may have been Hooker, I forget, but it was right in his hands for a pick, and it was just too slick. So, but anyway, I mean, dominant performance, peaked at the right time. And if you're a Titans fan, usually you're thinking, all right, time to lose to the Texans.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Perfect timing. But I truly think this is.
There's so much riding on this game.
I think this is when
ready.
You can't take lightly, and you want that 1 seed so bad. And I have to think if you're a Texan, you're done. I mean, it's the last game of the season. You got nothing left in you at this point.
At least the organization, the guys aren't going to go out there and try and lose, but morale is so low.
Yeah.
You got nothing to play for. Really all to play for is to piss off Zach Cunningham. And their running backs hit him a little bit harder.
Or mess up our season a little bit. Yeah, but then again, you see it. We talk about it with the bowl games. I mean, you got competitors everywhere. I mean, I've seen teams like this win. They don't. A lot of times they don't care. They just want to win a game. So you still got guys playing for jobs and everything, right? But I think this Tennessee team's going to come out and
take care of business.
TCB. And I don't want Derrick Henry to play. Maybe get him a couple.
Need to.
Get him a couple carries if you want, just to get his legs moving. But especially if he's not 100% right now,
don't
keep him out. Get that 1 seed and get an extra week of recovery. That's what's so huge, man.
Yeah,
getting him another week to get fully healthy and then unleash him like a dog that's been chained up in the woods for 3 days without food.
Well, he's the frozen king on his throne, and he's about to stand up here. So if like you said, if you're a Titans fan, very optimistic right now. Well, would not be optimistic before, but now I'd say most people are optimistic about the finish to the season here, and a lot to be hopeful for. Super Bowl hopes still in play for sure.
What's so convenient too about that 1 seed is you should hope that maybe someone who's not supposed to win knocks off the Chiefs for you or something, or knocks off another team you don't want to play. They get knocked off before you even have to face them. I mean,
because it's still a week-to-week league.
Well, and the biggest part is you got the home field advantage, and while Nissan Stadium is not the most intimidating place to play.
It's been better this season.
It's been better, and I will say for playoff games, I mean, it's pretty good. It's solid.
Yeah.
But the bigger part of home field advantage for a team like the Titans is just the fact that you don't have to go play in Arrowhead Stadium.
You don't have to go play in that hostile environment, the 12th man with the Seahawks or Mile High with the Broncos.
Yeah. So, exactly. So, that's good. This team, I mean, you got a shot. I don't care what you have to say about Tannehill. The fact that your defense is this good.
Oh, yeah. That completely made the difference.
I mean, we just saw it. You scored 34 points without Derrick Henry. 34-3 in a game that was nasty where you couldn't really throw it.
Your defense just puts you in spots to score easily.
Yeah. And then you know how to run the ball, and you know how to. I mean, that's the number that matters for Tannehill are those touchdown passes.
Yeah.
He gets touchdown passes. So I don't know what his stats are on the year, but the guy's never gonna. We don't need him to throw for 300 yards.
No,
even in a high scoring game,
200 on the ground.
Yeah, even in a high scoring game, if he throws for 200, it's like, oh, that's a good day for Tannehill because that's all we need him to do. That's more than we need him to do. So this team, I got a good feeling about it. I'm excited. I hope they take care of business next week, and I think they will.
I think we will. There's, like I said, so much riding on it, and we just got to win this game. I'm refusing to believe that we're going to screw it up as bad as this because it's the Texans. We already lost to them. We got our dumb loss to the Texans out of the way already, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I hope so, right?
Yeah, we'll be knocking on wood.
Well, and hey, we should mention So a lot of stats coming out since J-Rob's taken over this team, since you've had Vrabel come in, the success that's come, because J-Rob, not too much, but at times would catch a little flag for maybe some of his draft picks or additions. I mean, this has been the best stretch in Titans history. You haven't missed the playoff. I mean, you've had a winning season every season that Vrabel's been there. Been to an AFC Championship, been to the playoffs, 3 years in a row. Won 11 games last year, right?
Yep, 11 games.
Hopefully going to win 12 this year, maybe be a 1 seed. With 89 different players playing.
The most injured team in
dudes
NFL history.
Dudes who don't have jobs. Buster Screen coming in and making plays for us.
Dontrell Hilliard, who's come in and been vital to this team's success.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that it was
Foreman,
scrapping.
People had given up on Foreman. Because I think he had an Achilles injury. People were out on him.
Yeah,
we gave him a shot, and he's been great for us. He has truly been a poor man's Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what he's been, and it's been perfect for us. He's still got the
long hair, too, whenever he doesn't have it tied up. But I love how when he's just going and those braids are flying through the wind, he lowers his shoulder.
Yeah, he runs tough.
Yeah.
Doesn't have quite the top end speed, but it's exactly he's like a B version of Derrick Henry. It's awesome. I love watching all of them.
And
play.
Then when you got Hilliard and McNichols, you can use a B level Derrick Henry.
Well, dude. The thing is I think I like Hilliard better than McNichols.
McNichols has fallen off. I don't know if it's his concussions or injuries or whatever it's been, but
I know who's done for though. Is Darrington Evans? If you even remembered he was there.
How many snaps has he played?
None.
And he was what, a second or third round pick?
There's a lot of hype around him because he was a return guy, hopefully a really good kind of slot scat back, and dude hasn't done anything. And right now it's like with Henry coming back, you have you have the best running back maybe of all time, and then you got Foreman, who's a starting caliber running back we've seen, and Hilliard, who's good, who's serviceable,
and. Now, while Darrington Evans hasn't been too great on the field, he has actually made a career for himself. Have you seen that, his Twitch?
Yeah, I've seen it because I do follow him on Twitter. So, I see him.
Yeah, so he's made some more noise on Twitch and TikTok than the actual gridiron.
I'm all for guys.
But, hey, he's making money and not getting destroyed by 350-pound linemen. So
yeah, and I would think the only thing is he doesn't have a lot of tape because he's been injured so much. I don't know if he'll get another job or what.
Yeah, he doesn't have much tape.
But I hope he gets on a practice squad or something somewhere else.
Every single year.
Yeah,
and especially with running backs, when that mileage and injuries adds up, nobody wants a old battered running back.
Well, I don't think Vrabel likes him that much. For some, I don't know if maybe it's his work ethic, because one time they asked, this is months ago, maybe before the season started or maybe around when the season started, he got asked about what does Darrington Evans need to show you to get on the field more, and Vrabel basically just said he needs to show me a lot more than what he's showing me now. So
yeah, I think he said a lot, show me a lot more, and there's been some guys. Like I'm blanking on his name, but what was the offensive lineman that retired earlier this year?
Sambrailo?
Yeah, Ty Sambrailo. Yep. Thank you. So, and he had some problems with Vrabel and J-Rob as well. So there's been a couple of guys who have been on the team that maybe they're the kind of weak links, but there's been a couple of people that come out and say that, hey, I didn't really like the way this organization did things. Logan Ryan and Clowney too.
Really, Logan Ryan?
Oh, did you not see him on Twitter?
Well, I saw that, but that was about the fan base.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was kind of just lumping him in
because Logan Ryan was kind of he's kind of a foundation piece almost to really turn the Titans around.
But that was pretty bush league of him.
Dude, that was lame. He didn't have to do that, and he kind of came and apologized. But I was like, dude, you wouldn't have apologized if you didn't get wrecked for it, because he said basically if you didn't see it. They were asking him. He's on the Giants now. The press was asking him about if the fans have a right to be pissed. Well, and he said something about, the fans have a right to be pissed. We pretty much sucked this year, and I'm happy that they care that much because I come from a place in Tennessee where, you basically had to. The only way you got people in was if you sold tickets half price.
Yeah,
he said the fan base was non-existent. I'm like, dude, okay, hold up, bro. And I was like, show me where the half-price tickets are also. Show me where the half-price tickets are, because I would love to go to more games. I'm not dropping $100 every time I want to go to a game, But anyway, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you do have, and he came out And Lawan kind of defended him and said, I know there's fans from the 90s and everything, and I agree. I mean, he's right. The Titans fan base is not that good.
But it's also, I've read that Nashville is such a destination city that other teams' fans travel so well that
oh yeah,
it makes us look worse too, because Nashville is such a hot destination city right now that the other teams' fans always show up. So it just kind of also makes the Titans fan base look worse.
Yeah, if your team's playing in Nashville, especially if you're a Chiefs fan, a Niners fan, a Bills fan, big NFL franchises where the NFL is everything in those cities.
Yeah,
they're all showing up, and it's not great. I was just like, dude, don't bring us into this.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
No, we don't have anything to do with you. You're in a whole different conference.
I'm sure. Hey, sorry you're not the number one seed right now, buddy. That's what I took it as. I was like, all right, dude.
You're just jealous that
I'm sure you're probably a little bitter that, because I wish we would have kept him, but right now, no, we don't really need him.
No, Jackrabbit, if you've looked at his past 7 games.
He's gotten so much better.
Dude, the Titans fans owe Janoris Jenkins an apology. He has been on fire the past 7 games, and we know how well Christian Fulton's been playing really good. When he's on the field, obviously he's been banged up a little bit, but when he's on the field, he's locked down. You got Byard, you got Hooker. Hooker's turned into like a good pro. David Long's back. He had an interception late in the game. I love David Long. You do have. I used to be a little worried about the Titans because you were getting rid of these guys that you drafted that you were hoping you could build chemistry with.
But guys like Hooker, guys like David Long. I've seen them grow from David Long especially. In the preseason this year, he was playing a lot of preseason snaps. He was a 5th-round
pick, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah,
and he was playing a lot of preseason snaps, so he was always kind of that backup, kind of role player linebacker, and he's turned into.
Now he's the starter.
He's the guy.
He's the guy on the defense. It used to be Jayon Brown and Rashaan Evans, but they fell down the depth chart, and David Long has clearly been
he's
best
good.
Linebacker.
I like him a lot.
Fun to watch, especially paired with Zach Cunningham coming up here in the playoffs. That's going to be
and you got Cunningham. That's the best. Actually, so that was I don't know if you remember, but it was like losing to the Chiefs. Or, not losing to the Chiefs, losing to the Patriots and setting us up in that waiver order to get Zach Cunningham. Yeah. It actually ended up being like the best thing for us by losing to the Patriots. We still get the
number one, or
we still have the chance
to
get the 1 seed.
Our own destiny to get the 1 seed.
And you were able to steal Zach Cunningham,
who's playing at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level.
Which we were
led the league in tackles last year.
We were still like far down the waiver wire, so it was kind of crazy that no one was picking up Cunningham.
Yeah, he's been the Texans' best defensive player all this year by far.
I'm sure Vrabel was just licking his chops when he saw he was like, okay, why would we not get him? So, but that's great. I'm excited. That game this week will be fun. Hopefully they pull it off. Can't wait for the playoffs. NFL playoffs are so fun to watch. Every game's so good.
They really are.
The NFL, it does. I love college football more than anything, mainly because of the regular season, but I love the big game and primetime factor of the NFL. That's like that happens every week.
Every player is so good, and they're obviously trying their hardest to win, and it's just like two titans clashing in a battle together. These guys are so big and so strong,
and it's so easy in the regular season for NFL. You got Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, where it's always going to be kind of that
everybody's getting fired up
spot. 3 days a week of football.
The players are fired up to play in those primetime spots too, especially a lot of those young guys. They're like, hey, this is my shot to make a name for myself. I can be either the guy like Kirk Cousins who doesn't show up, or a guy like Rodgers who comes in and does show up. So,
yeah. So let's we're gonna have a little quicker episode today, but that's good. We covered a lot. I still think. There was a lot going on. Covered it. A couple things. I'm trying to see what I want to do first. So let's take a look at this QB draft class. We were thinking about this. We were talking about this before the episode. And I've had a couple people ask me this, or I asked. Someone said, hey, who are the QBs you like in this upcoming draft class? And I was like, well, obviously, you like Pickett.
Pickett is number one.
And then I sat there, and I was like, I don't know after that. I have truly no idea. And I don't even know if Pickett, I don't know if Pickett's going to be that great. I don't really know if Pickett will be a starter. He could be. I could see him being
it's no guarantee.
Well, yeah, but I could see him as a career backup and having a long career and everything, but I mean, nothing about him I'm like just jumps off the page at me necessarily. I think he's good. I think he's the best quarterback in college right now, but I don't know if anyone's going to be that good once they get to the league. And then so you pointed out Malik Willis is still up there, which draft scouts have been talking about him, but the problem with him is playing at Liberty, no one knows anything about him. And I feel like he's gotten less hype as the years gone on.
Yeah, he's gotten definitely less hype because he was originally kind of making him and Sam Howell were battling who was going to be the number one QB out of this class, and both really kind of fell in the rankings. And Pickett clear number one, but like you said, there's no guarantee that any of these guys are going to be longtime starters in the NFL, or really one guy you can pick out that you feel, okay, let's go trade up for this guy, or let's go make some moves. Like, I feel like there isn't going to be a big trade or a big move up to go get somebody like Pickett or Malik Willis.
Right, and someone even talked about what if there might not be a quarterback taken in the first round, which I think there will. Someone's going to have to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
Even if a quarterback drops, if you don't draft one of the first 5 or 10 picks, like you might just get, like it's just such a steal, you might get him. But maybe he's not. I don't know. But Sam Howell, you just pulled that up. He's the number 3 kind of prospect right now, and he's fallen off. You said it. You said it. He's a poor man's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. And people still, I think, have Mitch Trubisky's bad taste in their mouth. And so maybe North Carolina quarterbacks don't take him in the first round. Who knows?
Trubisky never made sense to me. I didn't hear anything about him till right around draft season.
Yeah. And then he goes number 1 overall, wasn't it? Or number 2?
Something like that. He went ahead of guys that he should not have. And I said, why are we worshiping these guys that weren't even that great in college? Like, Trubisky was good, but we would have heard a lot more about him had he just been lighting it up, But anyway, I don't know. And then, you get to the point, you got Corral, who I don't know if anyone loves, and then you start seeing these guys who I'm not even that familiar with.
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder sitting there at 6, but then Carson
Glass at Alabama A&M. We talked about Brock Purdy earlier.
He's a guy I like,
but he doesn't blow you away or anything.
I think he probably had more hype a couple years ago than he does now.
Yeah. See, this whole class has slowly slipped downward, except Kenny Pickett, pretty much.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter's probably been around the same because he's not really a pro-type quarterback. He's just one of the better ones in college.
He's a playmaker, yeah.
Yeah.
In college, at least. But, yeah, we start getting down here, and then we talk about JT Daniels.
JT Daniels is number 10, who doesn't even play.
He doesn't even play. De'Aaron King at number 11, who we were counting has played 6 years in college football.
Well, he's not even... Is he the number 11 prospect that's listed as a QB, or is he the number 11 QB prospect? Does that make sense?
Yes, because there's no way De'Aaron King at 5'8", 195, and his accuracy is going to play NFL quarterback.
No. The guy runs a 4.45, stick him at slot.
Yeah, stick him at slot or throw him out there at DB, Nick Marshall style.
Yeah. Reverse Nick Marshall.
Yeah.
But I don't see
Tanner
it.
Morgan out of Minnesota.
He's going, and Tanner Morgan's going back to Minnesota.
Yeah, so some of these guys...
DTR, I don't even know what he's doing. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And then, you start getting into guys who you're like, what?
Sean Clifford, Levi Lewis.
I know Levi Lewis, so I know he's a good college quarterback.
Names, but it's not Dustin Crum. I recognize Crum from Kent State, but like we said, another guy who's...
Well, and like you and me, we recognize some of these guys, but there's plenty of casual fans who are going to have no idea who, like, the third or fourth quarterback taken
Malik
is.
Willis. There's probably a lot of people who don't know the starting Liberty quarterback. Are you kidding me?
Or forgot about him.
Yeah,
even if you heard about it. I've kind of forgotten because I don't hear anything out of Liberty during the year.
Yeah, nobody's following Liberty. The only reason you're following it is if you're a Hugh Freeze fan, I guess.
Last thing we'll talk about. There was some breaking news that had a little bit of a ripple effect. So Caleb Williams decides to. He had said in a press conference basically, yeah, I don't know if I'm coming back to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He decided he said he's entering the transfer portal.
But he's not gone yet, right?
That's what he said.
Yes.
That's what he said. He said he's got to look at it.
Yeah.
But so you're assuming he's probably gone. And it could cause even more of a ripple effect. But once he decided that, once he put his name in the portal, Dylan Gabriel, who had committed to UCLA, transferring from UCF, commits to Oklahoma.
Yeah, just flips.
Which is crazy. I mean, dude, college football, talk about, I mean, that's more than free agency.
Yeah,
you got free will out the wazoo. I
Yeah.
mean, you can do whatever you want, I guess, now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know how it's become this way. I mean, as fans, it's enjoyable to watch, but it could be a slippery slope here.
Yeah.
It could get way too slippery of a slope. What if we start having like mid-season like
guys,
trades?
They go Antonio Brown. They just walk off the field.
Walk off, and they just decide, hey, I want to go play for Alabama the second half of the year.
It's nuts, and that was something I didn't expect to see. I mean, Gabriel's locked in at UCLA, and then he said, nope, the quarterback at Oklahoma's leaving. I'm going there. But so Caleb Williams, really good, obviously. His dad shut down the rumors, but I mean, the guy was recruited pretty heavily from Georgia out of high school, so that's one that you look at. I mean, I don't know. Does he go to USC? I think that would be awesome if he goes.
I feel like that would fit him really well.
Well, I mean, that's his coach that he decided to go play
Decide
for out of
to
high
play
school.
for.
So, I mean, Rattler's not going over there, so it's
we
like
know Rattler is going to South Carolina, so I think it would make a lot of sense if he went to go play.
if both quarterbacks went to USC,
that would be insane.
just different. But that could be huge. And then obviously I'm pretty tapped into the Nebraska Twitter, and they talked about how if Williams were to go to Georgia, look for JT Daniels to maybe come play for Whipple at Nebraska. And which is like JT Daniels would be going to his third school while he's the number 10 ranked quarterback in the draft class without even playing. What a wild career he's had. Basically riding off that. I mean, I think he's good. His freshman year at USC was awesome. He was super hyped up, and then played well when he played last year for Georgia. So a lot of people thought and probably still think that he's the best quarterback at Georgia, but Kirby Smart doesn't think so. So yeah, I mean, if you're him, you got to go, and I think it's hilarious that he's ranked that high as a draft prospect. Because do you just go, or do you go play real quick and up? Because I mean, if you go light it up somewhere, you can make yourself a few $1 million.
Oh yeah, certainly. Because right now, I don't think he's a first round draft pick.
No.
So if he plays his way up into a first round draft pick, he can make millions.
Well, I think he's like a fourth or fifth now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah, for sure. So
that's me saying that. I don't know if he would actually, but fourth or fifth off of what he's shown, off of maybe a raw talent. But yeah, I mean, even if you move up
5
around
to 7,
yeah, that's what I'm
projected.
thinking. Yeah, 5 to 7 makes more sense. I mean, if you can move up to the third round, you're making yourself a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, it's way different between fifth and third round money for sure.
Oh yeah, crazy. Yeah, man, wild times
West out here for QBs and college football and transfers.
That's the big one, right? QBs, because they kind of have the best chance to land somewhere. All these other guys, you might enter the transfer portal and then realize
get screwed.
Well, and realize, the only place that wants me right now is Memphis
Akron?
or something. But I play at so and so. I play at USC. I play Georgia. Well, it's like, you haven't really played yet, so you don't have any tape.
Yeah, you don't. Your tape is high school tape, buddy.
Yeah, we don't know. Maybe you suck, and that's why you're not playing. Or maybe you just need to stick it out where you're at, and you'll be ready in 2 years to play. That's how it works. It's how it used to work. No one gets that anymore.
We want instant gratification now.
Well, sometimes you're just not as good as the junior who's been there for 2 years, even if you are 5-star or 4-star. Maybe you just need to practice for a couple years, and then, hey, now you're ready to play. You can go play. But whatever. That about does it, I think, for this episode. Guys, it's been real. Thanks again for listening. don't forget, we're part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. Be sure to check them out on social media, on YouTube. Been getting a lot of YouTube views. That's kind of
shout out to the YouTube pay dirters.
Something that surprised me. I didn't realize how big podcasts on YouTube were, but I mean, we're killing it on there, getting a few hundred views. Appreciate all of you who listen. Be sure to check out the website, paydirtsports.blog. Follow us on Twitter, paydirt_sports, and on Instagram, paydirtsports. Have all the updates all over the place on all three of those platforms. Guys, thanks again for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
Go Titans.